murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika. Nitwa Jean-Pierre Kagame nkorera RBA. Nyakubahwa Perezida, hirya no hino atari mu Rwanda gusa haravuga ikibazo kizamuka ry'ibiciro byatewe n'ibibazo isi yanyuzemo. Hari ingamba u Rwanda rwagiye rufata, ariko ikibazo nabazaga nubuhe buryo bwihariye ugiye gukorwa kugira ngo iki kibazo kidahungabanya iterambere ry'imibereho myiza mwifuriza abaturage. Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Nkuko rumaze no kubivuga, ikibazo aho gituruka cyane cyane ku izamuka ry'ibiciro ku isoko n'ahandi, yaturuka ku bintu bimwe bitandukanye bituruka hanze y'igihugu kubera ibiriho biba ku isi, haba kure haba hafi, bigira ingaruka hirya no hino, bitugiraho ingaruka natwe. Ariko ngira ngo umuntu yavuga ko igihugu cyacu ubundi bijyanye n'ubukungu muri rusange, imibereho ishingiye kuri byo, yasaga naho yari bimaze kumenyera yagendaga neza. Icyo dukora rero ni uguhera ku uko ibintu byagendaga neza, noneho tugashaka uburyo ibyo bimwe bitari mu maboko yacu twahangana nabyo. Ikipe irebana n'iby'ubukungu muri rusange igihugu cyacu yagiye ishyiraho uburyo, ari ugushyiraho uburyo bw'imfashanyo bishobora gufasha mu kugabanya ibyo biciro, ariko biturutse mu bundi buryo bwakozwe, tuvuge kugira ngo nk'ibiciro bya peteroli uko bimeze ubundi bitewe n'izamuka ry'ibiciro byakabaye bikomeza bizamuka bijya hejuru, ariko icyo gihe leta ifite uburyo yabyize neza, ishyiramo amafaranga kugira ngo cya kinyuranyo uko igiciro cyari kimeze n'uko cyazamutse bitewe n'ibyo bibazo twavugaga, ishobore kutabaho bitewe n'icyo leta yashyize muri system ubwayo. Urebye rero za subsidies zigenda zikorwa ziba zigamije kugira ngo byunganire igihugu, byunganire abaturage kuri ibyo byo gutuma ibiciro bidakomeza kuzamuka. N'ubundi buryo rero na Central Bank ubwayo, banki nkuru y'igihugu nayo ifite uko ikora imibare yayo ku kiguzi cy'amafaranga, niba ariko nabyita, bifite nabyo uko byigwa bigakorwa kugira ngo ibiciro bidakomeza kuzamuka, ndetse bishobora no kongera kumanuka. Nanone bitwara igihe, ntabwo bibaho uyu munsi umwe gusa uko byakozwe. Ndibwira rero ko ibintu biza gusubira mu buryo, ariko bitwara igihe.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Zimbabwe.
Afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Love Momatire. I'm from Zimbabwe, Harare. I'm the group political editor for St. Papers. First, thank you so much for inviting me to the UMUTEKANO. It was my first time to be here, and I was quite impressed with what I witnessed there. However, I'm quite disturbed that while most of the African media took the event as a very important event, there was some kind of a downplay from the Western media in how it took the initiative. Can you comment on that, why the Western media continues to downplay homegrown initiatives that are meant to bring citizens together? Thank you.
Well, thank you, but that has a history, it has a context, it's something that has not happened overnight, that different countries, including Rwanda, get some narratives are formed about us, not so much even to encourage us to do better, but to depict situations as bad forever and even worse with the time. Sometimes it is deliberate. Again, I said it has a context, has a history, why the West is supposed to determine everything according to them. That happens in Africa. They are supposed to decide for people how they should be defined, what they should be doing, how they should not, or what they should not be doing. There is this, I don't know, maybe prejudice. I don't understand the rationale of it. I don't understand why people do it. It's a tool of control. It's a tool of to avoid, people encroaching on your status. The West is up there, according to them. Nobody should be there approaching that position. They should stay where they want people to be, so that they can easily always control the people, the resources, and determine. You have heard so much about global order. So global order is there about that. Global order is defined by and people, and among other things, that is one of them, of shaping the global order. Global order has people who create that and who therefore must maintain that global order. But with time and with certain realities, people challenge that notion that some parts of the world must control the whole world without a question. Other big powers challenge that in a big way. Small ones also have their way of challenging that, especially departing from trying to define ourselves, not so much being defined by others. So within UMUTEKANO, we do it not to impress anyone, first of all. Like other initiatives, we have done that, we've thought about doing that, because we think it will improve us whether politically, economically, socially. It's something that improves society as far as we are concerned. I mean, people having these political innovations and allowing ideas to float or to be challenged, but ultimately coming out with something that works for people shouldn't be a bad thing in any way, in my view. It helps make you who you want to be, or improving who you are, instead of going the route of following the dictates of other people. We would rather follow where your heart and mind should be taking you. This is something we've lived, we've know it, we know what challenges are in even dealing with that. It constitutes a lot of challenges inevitably, but you stay the course. You stay the course and do what you think is important, is good for you. And then you keep fighting these battles to put you off course. So that UMUTEKANO you are talking about, and as you saw, the people there, the young, the old, from different walks of life, with different backgrounds, I think really constitutes a very significant sample of representation of our society. And why not? Why don't we sit down and talk about what we need to do that can improve us? So that's what we do, irrespective of whoever doesn't like it or likes it. We can live with those even when they don't like it.
Thank you, sir. Next question from Congo.
Chanel Mourangon, Télé Congo, Congo Brazzaville.
Just a moment, maybe I need to use a translation. Go ahead.
Alors, merci de nous avoir accueillis ici au Rwanda. Merci pour l'invitation et on a aimé vraiment être dans ce beau pays. Ma première question concerne la visite du président Macron en Afrique, qui a entamé une visite où il va séjourner à Brazzaville, Luanda et Kinshasa, sûrement avec le président Sassou, avec le président TSHISEKEDI, le président Lorenzo. Ils vont aborder la question sur la crise entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Alors, qu'en est-il du dialogue? Où en sommes-nous sur les pourparlers entre le Rwanda et la RDC? Ça, c'est ma première préoccupation. La deuxième, c'est sur la coopération entre le Congo et le Rwanda. Comment se porte cette coopération? Est-ce que vous envisagez d'aller un peu plus loin que ce que les commissions mixtes ont déjà arrêté comme accord? Merci.
Right. First of all, I think the President of France, President Macron, who will be in the region, is one of a number of countries and people who have been trying to help in resolving this problem in our region. People talk about Eastern Congo. Eastern Congo is not a country on its own. It's actually Congo. I think the problem is nothing like, in my view, there's nothing like Eastern Congo problem. Maybe you want to be specific in a narrow sense about what it is actually Congo's problem. It's also a regional problem, meaning it affects even neighbors. I can't say how we are affected. Let's say if we are referring to Rwanda, you wouldn't say northern Rwanda problem, because northern Rwanda is neighboring with eastern Congo, and the spillovers of problems mainly come to the north of our country. That doesn't make it a northern Rwanda problem. No, it makes Rwanda's problem. So I want us to understand that Eastern Congo problem is Congo's problem. It should stop being Eastern Congo problem, Eastern Congo problem. No, it's the Congo's problem. That's one. Number two, again, this problem has a very long history in terms of the cause of that. But it also has a long history of how it has been mismanaged from the beginning. That's why it is there for the last 20-something years. And if you look at the attention that has been paid to this so-called Eastern Congo problem, it's so much so that one would think we should have got a solution to this problem. So it's been there for long. It has been mismanaged for very long. And I think it has a relationship also with the first thing I corrected, that it can't just keep being seen as Eastern Congo problem. It's a Congo problem. Only based, this particular one, based in Eastern Congo. So, your important question, I'm not sure. People have discussed this program in all kinds of settings. The AU summit, we discussed it. We discussed it in Kenya. We discussed it in Angola. We have discussed it around the General Assembly in New York. We have discussed it almost everywhere, and people. There are other well-wishers here who want to help in this problem. The other day we were supposed to go and meet in Qatar over the same problem. That didn't happen, but maybe it is going to happen in the near future. So everywhere we are talking about this problem. So the importance of your question therefore lies in this fact that how can any problem, but particularly this one, continue to be discussed, just discussed, and keep people taking. We have communiques, we have all kinds of statements, but that's why it has stayed for all these years. Then on top of that, we remember the background. We have under global peacekeeping, we have had thousands, tens of thousands of troops called peacekeepers in the Congo for this time. They are supposed to keep something, to resolve something, keep peace, resolve. the underlying issues for the lack of peace. Again, we are there for these years of meaning decades, still we see no problem, no solution. So surely if anyone who stepped back a little bit and wanted to make sense of what is happening, somebody should realize that something is terribly wrong. And we might be addressing the wrong problem, or we are providing the wrong solution to the problem we know. Otherwise, there is no other explanation how things can continue like this forever. Now, people who want shortcuts, but even then, shortcut is supposed to reduce the time you address something. But people who want shortcuts blame it all on Rwanda. This is now the easiest, but even then, I have not found how it becomes a shortcut, because we are still there with the problem. Maybe if we had blamed Rwanda, as even if wrongly, and got a solution, okay, we can live with that. We can say, okay, Rwanda was blamed for a problem that is not theirs, and they incurred so much in terms of cost, and this and that. But at least we found a solution. So, but now it has only turned out to be an additional problem, for which you're not going to find a solution. As if the first problem is not bad enough, we add another problem, which is blaming it all on the wrong party altogether. So, is it just a matter of meetings that even if it were for that, we have not had a few meetings? Is it we've run short of people to blame? I don't think that is even giving us a solution. So I think people need to come back to our senses and see how, because I try to summarize what I think is the origin of why we keep going back and forth and not finding. I should say it originates with the history between our two countries, Rwanda and the DRC. We shared the colonial history because we were all governed by Belgians at that time, DRC, Rwanda and Burundi. Then whatever happened, in fact we find, like it has happened in many other countries. I've been raising this question, if there is any country in Africa that does not have people on one side of the border similar or related to people on the other side of the border of the country that are neighboring each other. I don't think there is any. So this famous, I'm sure here, by the time we are done with this press conference, the story will be M23 has become something like a scarecrow. It's supposed to dramatize the story or, scare people that we have something terrible here, and that's what is. So I'm sure that's what is going to happen from here. M23 is the beginning and the end of the problem. But that's not true. So-called M23 is a product of a lot of things, mismanaged, mishandled, starting even in those days. I talked of colonial times, how these people associated with Rwanda happened to be in Congo. If to be honest, I probably wasn't around when it happened. That was way before I was born. So how can I be responsible for the problem? How can I be the cause of the problem? Then, of course, for all of you, I'm sure you were born yesterday. I'm sure there is even part of the story you don't know, you've never come across. So, that is one. How can Rwanda be blamed for the refugees we have here, who have been here for 20 years over, from Congo, associated with the people in M23? The M23 problem, which started in 2012, and where they used some military force to try and resolve the problem. The M23 people, some fled to Uganda and neighboring Congo as well, others fled here. We have them here in the camps. So, when that was done and finished, there had been agreements of the next steps to resolve that problem from 2012. These agreements were all reneged on until recently, when this fighting flared up, started again of the same groups but in Congo, in eastern Congo, there are over 120 armed groups, of which M23 is only one of them. Right? So, the 120 armed groups, how were they formed? Certainly, I haven't even heard even those who hate Rwanda, who tell a lot of lies about Rwanda, have not accused Rwanda of having formed those 100 and plus armed groups. So at least even those who wish us everything negative have not accused us of that. They're only accusing us of association with M23. So who formed the other 100 over armed groups and why? Who explains that? Why don't they talk about that or take care of that? So, I would suggest to people that they simply need to look at what needs to be looked at. The root causes of what we are having to deal with. The root causes are clear. I've told you in that history. Even the agreements were reached of how to resolve that from 2012. How could they not have been implemented, those agreements? It can't be because of Rwanda. Even if I bring you to the recent events, this fighting that is started a couple of years ago was not started by Rwanda by any means or by anybody. Try to look at, just follow the history of how this recent fighting started. It had no involvement of Rwanda at all. Only that maybe the ones who started it or who wanted it to be there designed it in such a way that they would then blame it on Rwanda. And it's simple how to do that. You just have to distort the history. Because they are saying, no, these are people from Rwanda. These are Rwandans, meaning the M23 and the people we have here as refugees who have been here for over 20 years are all called Rwandans. So they are from Rwanda. So it's like they are sending them back to where they came from the beginning. This is really the story. The story is all these Rwandans in Congo, it doesn't matter how they went there, they should go back to Rwanda. But what is even more interesting is that while you are sending away these Rwandans and saying they should go to Rwanda, back to Rwanda, it doesn't matter how they got here. These same people are retaining other Rwandans who are FDLR. You have heard of that? So FDLR is actually welcome in the Eastern Congo. But the rest should go back to Rwanda. So that again tells the story. But the way they retain FDLR, the reason they do that, is because they think they can build around it for so long. They have been trying to do that. A force that would come and destabilize Rwanda, and I think the president of Congo at one point, it must have escaped from his thoughts. Remember when he said he's going to bring regime change in Rwanda. Of course, I didn't take that seriously. I thought it was a joke. He must have been joking, and he's allowed to make those jokes. It's okay. But it's also something that may be in the minds of some people. They wish for that. But that's a different subject. So, what is simple? Why don't we even look at those old agreements, and many, by the way, whether they were reached by the former government under President Kabila and others that were reached by the current administration, about how to resolve this matter with these same people they are having a problem with. Even if we just started with that alone. And that would be helpful. So the root cause, if there are people here. First of all, if there are people they think are not Rwanda, are not Congolese, they are pretending, okay, those we can identify and put them aside. But how about those they already identify as actual Congolese? What is the reason for not accepting them as they should accept other Congolese? So the whole story now turns into, oh, this is an invasion from Rwanda, they want a piece of Congo. No, but before you come to that, maybe you need to answer these questions I was raising. Of course, we are very conscious of the fact that Rwanda geographically is very small. That's a fact. How it came to that, I'm not even going to talk about it. That Rwanda was dismembered and cut to pieces and left people. I'm not talking about that. I don't need to talk about that. It's not in my mind. But We are where we are. We've been where we are for so long. It's not today that we are thinking of encroaching on somebody else's territory to increase our size and so on. I mean, unless somebody really is just insulting us and thinks we are that foolish in this day and age to be investing in things that are so costly to us that we would be looking for that. I don't think so. This is just diversionary. What is clear is, let's go to the real problem. Let's go to why is this fighting? How did it start? Who started it? Why? Who are these people who are fighting? What do they want? Whether it is M23 or the other groups I told you that are up to or over 120 groups, armed groups. So the mismanagement, the bad governance, cannot just be explained away. You need, and also the rights of people. The rights of people need to be given to them. Always, it's whether it is Eastern Congo or here or anywhere, the moment you think or you have a policy of denying people their rights and persecuting them, you know that when people have nothing to lose, they will fight you. You can blame the ones who you imagine is helping them, you can do whatever you want, but I think history has shown us many things that when you tamper with people's rights for so long and think you are so powerful or have right to do that, the moment it turns on you, it might be too late for you. And then the other stories, you can see they are really looking for all kinds of excuses to run away from the real problem or root causes of that problem. Then the next time it is about minerals. Rwanda is poor, it has no minerals. They are invading our country, they are fighting, supporting M23.